Welcome to another interview session with Governor Alex Otti of Abia. He leads a state called God's own state. And it's a state of a lot of enterprise when you look at the antecedents of Aba, a sprawling town from its colonial days and a heart and a hub for business in the Southeast region. The big question is, how is Governor Otti going to bring his banking experience to revolutionize this state? The state needs employment, the state needs the basic health and other infrastructure that makes a state worthy of admiration. He's got a lean budget at the same time, so it's a tall order. We'll talk about this. We'll also talk about other issues. The opposition, yes, they're screaming foul all the time he takes a step. We'll see how he meanders through these very turbulent waters of opposition and governing the states. This and many more you can expect in this interview with Governor Alex Otti. Your Excellency, pleasure to have you on the show.
Nice to have you in Abia. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
Welcome from Washington. Was it Washington?
Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much.
I was watching you on the screen.
Thank you so much.
Tried to wave, you didn't respond.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Welcome.
Your Excellency, you got here by the grace of God and your campaign, but most importantly, a very important woman, that great professor at INEC that decided not to compromise. You want to say something about that great woman and state her name extensively, because we live in a country where we don't celebrate heroes.
Yes. Thank you very much. And I want to start by welcoming you once again to Abia. Thank you for the first question, because you're very right. A lot of times we don't celebrate people. And I've had time to actually say good things about her. I didn't know her from Adam. Never met her. And when she was selected for that role, that was just like 48, 72 hours before the election. So I was a bit scared because when she was appointed Vice Chancellor of Federal University of Technology, Owerri, I tried to reach out to her because she bears the same surname. She's Otti, Professor Nnennaya Otti. So, and I guess that was 2021. So I got her number, tried to call her, she didn't respond. I sent a text message congratulating her, she didn't also respond. So I just said, okay. I left her. And 2 years later, she was now going to be the returning officer. But then, most importantly, I left everything in the hands of God. And then the election came. If you recall, I've been in this process since 2015. And a particular local government was always used to falsify the results of the election. And that's Obingwa. Again, in 2019, it happened. So 2023, the election, it was clear that I was going to win the election again. And as the results kept trickling in from the different local governments, the tally was increasing. I mean, the difference was increasing. And what they did at that time was just to wait. So at some point when they thought enough local governments had come in, they falsified the result, moved it to 80,000, from there to 90,000, it ended at 108,000. But then this woman rejected those falsified results and said she was going to stick to the results that came from the polling units. And the rest now is history. So we cannot tell the story of the changes that have happened in Abia State, the new Abia, as we call it, without a reference to Professor Nnennaya Otti. We thank God for her, and we know that this was just God's arrangement, because for her to come into the equation, and in fact, the other day that she was giving her daughter in marriage that I attended in Ebonyi State. She, by the way, she is from a Ebonyi state. So she was telling me that this was the first time that she was going for an election, that she never participated in elections. So I strongly believe that the hand of God was in the whole process. It was God that brought her. So my tribute to her. Thank you.
And tribute to courage. But those in the opposition still say a lot of things about you. Let me tell you some of the things they say. They say you awarded the most expensive contract in Nigeria, 5-kilometer Port Harcourt Road, Aba, for 32 billion to Julius Berger, chaired by your friend. These are kind of the things they say in the opposition about you. Also hear one of it. They say you abandoned the new government house, that nothing was wrong with it, and we are right here in your village. They also talked about the fact that, you were trying to take glory for the geometric power company, when that, contrary to your public boast, that Aba is not even enjoying 24/7 power supply and the residents. And they also went ahead, to say that you abandoned the multi-specialist hospital that was done by your predecessor. So these are some of the things they say about you. I mean, what do you say to all of these things?
Well, the opposition will find something to say. Even if God was to come down to govern the state, the opposition will have something to say. So I think they are busy looking for things to say. All the issues you've mentioned are non-issues to Abia people. Geometric, of course, I told the story of geometric. And I encountered geometric in my banking days when Professor Barton Naji came to me, a bit frustrated. And this was several years ago. I was the executive director in First Bank. I believe that was 2009, 2010. Yeah. Just before I left First Bank. And I packaged the facility to help him rescue the geometric project, because the bank, coincidentally, that was funding the project at that time, stopped because of the global economic crisis. And that bank was Diamond Bank, where I had to go 1 year after. And I packaged, if I recall, about $80 million facility. Got the approval, but he couldn't draw because the bank at that time felt that the person that understood the project was leaving, and that was me. And as I left, he came back to me in Diamond Bank. And we sat down and provided all the facilities that he required to complete the project. In fact, we completed the project before I left the bank in 2014. But one problem after another. I believe that the way God wanted it kept it from taking off until I became the governor.
Licensing issues. Because I also got a chance to, speak to Professor Barton Naji,
Licensing issues,
and court cases.
The island, the Aba Island, that was ceded to him by the former president, Obasanjo, now had to be retendered, and somebody else paid for it. So they ended up in court. At some point, I actually brought my former chairman in the bank, Abure Furniture, Igwe Abogidi, Alfred Nemekachebe, to mediate. But it didn't work until I came in 2023. And between 2023 and 2024, I believe January 2024, we were able to solve all the problems, and geometric started.
So you claim glory for the geometric project?
Far from it.
Okay.
I can't claim glory for geometric. A lot of things went into it. But I contributed my little quota to make it happen. And Professor Barton Naji and the management of geometric are grateful, provided the enabling environment. I understood the issues. Maybe my predecessor didn't have that kind of understanding that I had, and I don't blame him for that, because I had a relationship with the entire business 10 years before. So, and that experience helped in solving the problem. Talking about whether it's working or it's not working, I don't work for geometric, but I know that I have geometric here. And a lot of times, 22 hours out of 24 hours, I have public power from geometric.
So this is geometric power in this place where?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, but then they are dealing with a few issues. One is the substations. And I think there are about 7 or 9 of them. Costs a lot of money to rehabilitate the substations. And those substations have been left to decay over a very long period of time. Now, with the kind of power coming from the 3 or 4 turbines, I think 3 turbines and geometric, if you put them into those substations, what you see is a blowout. So they have to rehabilitate them, and it costs a lot of money. I think at the last count, they have rehabilitated about 5 of them. And anywhere they rehabilitated the substations, they put power in there, and you have power. In fact, the interesting thing, since we are talking about geometric, is that they have capacity. They have 3 turbines that have capacity to produce 141 megawatts of power. There's provision for a 4th turbine, which I helped them locate in Ghana, and I think they are discussing now how to get. It's a brand new turbine in Ghana. Somebody called me and said, "Oh, we have this turbine. We know geometric may need it. We don't have access to them. Can you please put us in touch with the MD of geometric? We want to sell it because we don't need it. We have never used it." So, and my commissioner for power and public utilities used to work for General Electric. And so I got in touch with him because some of these things, you know where they are. And he made all the inquiries, and we got in touch with Professor Barton, and he was excited. So that by the time they finished the discussion, a 4th turbine will be here. And that will increase their capacity to 188 megawatts. Now, a full capacity in between the 9 local governments of the Abure ring-fenced island, we have estimated, and that's geometric now, that the total consumption will not be more than 100 megawatts. Okay, so we will have some 80 to 88 megawatts, which ordinarily should go to the national grid. But what are we doing? We've engaged with Enugu Disco through Emeka Ofohu, the owner of Interstate Electric, and we are almost at the point. We've signed an MOU at the point of buying the Umuahia ring fence out of geometric, out of EEDC. What do we intend to do? We intend to wheel the 80 to 88 megawatts excess capacity from geometric into Umuahia. So in the next 1 or 2 years, we can say that we have constant public supply.
Okay.
Power supply in Abia.
What about the Julius Berger contract, that I talked about, that they said you gave to your friend?
It's a joke. Julius Berger is my friend.
Yeah, they said you gave it to your friend.
These are
some of the things the opposition,
okay, so let me
will always say, and we
so
just...
you know what will happen?
Yeah.
I would like you to go to Port Harcourt Road after this interview. Talk to people. That road had been abandoned for over 30 years. Nobody could fix it, except Julius Berger. And everybody knows. So if you go to Aba and make this allegation, you'll probably not come back.
I'm a journalist. I just ask the questions.
No. So what it is that it's not 5.8 kilometers. It's a dual carriageway. It is something else, and I would like you to just go there. So the allegation of the so-called opposition, because they couldn't fix it. So somebody has come to fix it. And every other person is very happy. And Julius Berger is handing over the project to me next week. And
how much does the project cost?
It has gone beyond the 30 billion.
So how much is it now?
Somewhere about 36.5 billion now. Yeah, that's what it is.
And it's good use of money.
Absolutely. It's one of the most important parts of the Southeast, not just Aba. Okay, so virtually everything is made on Port Harcourt Road. It's a very long stretch of road.
Okay.
I would like you to see.
No, I saw part of it while we were, coming here.
No, you've not gone to Aba.
No, I've not gone to Aba.
Port Harcourt Road is inside Aba, not Aba Port Harcourt Road.
Okay.
There's a Port Harcourt Road in Aba.
Okay.
That takes you from inside town all the way to the expressway.
Okay.
Okay. So, and everybody is happy. Even the opposition is happy.
Okay. What are you doing as regards school?
Okay, you also talked about government house.
Yeah, government house. Yeah,
Yes.
and the specialist hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened was that my predecessor commissioned an uncompleted building on the 28th of May.
Uncompleted building?
Uncompleted building on the 28th of May. I would also like you to see it. My people will take you to it. So, and it is supposed to be new government house. So what did he do? He completed the ground floor, finished it very well, put Italian furniture. I don't like to talk about it, but since you asked,
No, yes.
put Italian furniture in the place, painted it, and commissioned it. Okay, so the bedroom. So after the inauguration, I went there. When I looked at the ground floor, I was very happy. But as I went to the first and second floor, they were not even plastered. No sanitary fittings, nothing. So that's fraud.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you going to probe him for that?
I've not put one dime.
No, are you going to probe your predecessor for that?
You have only 4 years. And when you get into some of these distracting things, you lose focus. I have too much work to do. Probing him is, of course, we called in KPMG at some point, and I'm sure you must have seen that, where they looked at one of the accounts, and they found that some 10 billion naira was drawn for a non-existent airport. So that's the only one that we are saying, bring back our money or give us the airport.
But he says he's fixed the airport, that the airport is, that things are working with the airport.
It's Audio Airport.
Audio Airport?
We've just flagged off the construction of the Abure Airport. That's better. Probing is a waste of my time.
But the question a lot of people ask is, if you have an airport in Owerri, why do you need another Abure Airport? That's always the argument. Does it make financial? I mean, you're a financial expert.
It's a good argument.
Does it make financial
sense? It's a good argument. But the truth about it is that when you go elsewhere, you'll find that in a place like Texas, how many airports do you have?
But they have
even in Houston.
No, I mean, I was in Texas. I was in Dallas in what's it called in January. You have the Dallas Fort Worth Airport, which is about the second, third biggest airport in America. Then you have other airports around.
Yes, you have Houston, Hobby.
You have the economic activity to carry it. I just came in from DC. There was Dulles, there was Ronald Reagan, there was Baltimore, Maryland.
We are thinking for the future, but let me tell you.
But
let me tell you,
you don't have the funds.
No,
you're pressed for funds. You still have to borrow money. Why you building it?
The airport is not mine. It's a federal government project.
Okay.
Okay.
Who is funding it? Federal government?
Federal government. Okay. So let me explain how it happened.
Yeah.
So the federal government came up to say it wanted to build a few airports, I think 4 or 5. And Abia was one of them. Okay? And it was not going to be an airport. It was an airstrip that they planned. So I went and met the president. And I said, Mr. President, the difference between an airport and an airstrip is the wrong way. So if you are going to do an airstrip in Abia, can I partner with you and make it a full-fledged airport? And he said, oh, there's no problem with that. I should go and meet the Honorable Minister for Aviation, Festus Keyamo. And I went and met him, and he didn't have a problem with that. So, and we sat down. You bring your own money. We bring our counterpart fund.
How much are you putting into it?
I'm not sure yet. But our contribution is now the wrong way.
How much is the federal government putting into this?
Not sure yet, too. That's the
work is still going on. So it's still in the ideation stage of the project?
No, we have planned off, but then a lot of work is still going on.
But the money you will put into it, where is it going to come from? You have to borrow. Because the state does not have this, the financial capacity. I know you are in the private sector. You know how to raise capital.
Not just in the private sector.
Yeah, you know how to raise capital.
You are going into my territory.
Yes.
Just leave that area for me. It's my
But
trade secret, money.
I know that you raise money.
Yeah,
You know,
so
safe to call you Ezego in banking. You know, king of raising money in banking.
yeah.
But it's going to put back a deadline on the states.
Don't worry about
And
that.
that's what we're scared of because most states are
You
not
know, the
viably
fact-
run.
Let me tell you something. I just saw the numbers from DMO that in 2023, they said we inherited a debt profile of 138 billion. But that's at the end of last year that we reduced it to 66 billion. We've not borrowed one time.
So how did you clear it? How did you not borrow and you were doing
Trade
projects?
secrets. You need,
No,
you want to- yeah,
tell us about
then,
it.
No, you have to consult me and pay me some money for me to tell you. because
Shall I turn off the cameras for a bit?
no, you pay me first. Okay, so,
But
they say about money. Let me tell
the
you.
opposition keeps saying, you know, you are borrowing. That it's that all of these
Let
things
them
you are
come
doing
with
is
the facts,
is
man.
a
Borrowing.
borrowing
Who
spree.
did I borrow from them? If I borrowed from a bank, it will be clear. DMO will tell you.
But I would like
Okay, so
I
let
would like
me
to know the
also-
figures on the airports.
Let me
Yeah.
also go back
Yes.
and let you know that by the time we looked at the books and the numbers, we found that it was actually 192 billion that my predecessor handed over to me as debt.
How much did it leave
192.
for you in the coffers? How much did it leave as money on ground for you to run the
so
states?
if you have money in the coffers, you wouldn't be owing. So we
No,
had
you can
netted-
no,
we
you
had
can have
netted
money in the
off-
coffers and still
No,
owe.
if you net off what is left in the coffers, we had a debt profile of 192 billion.
So he left nothing?
Absolutely nothing.
He left nothing in the coffers?
Nothing. So when you say, you know, you need to understand, I can leave 100 naira in one account, and I'm owing 100
No, so
naira
how much-
in another account.
how
No,
much is the money he
listen,
left
That's
in?
how it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because when you say how much did he leave, you are owing money and you are leaving money. Does it make sense?
It doesn't.
Okay, so what you do is you take the total assets and remove your liabilities, and you know what the net is. And I'm saying the net he left for us was 192 billion. So if you,
Even
you-
more than what the DMO quoted.
Yes, because DMO didn't include pension arrears, which we cleared off. They didn't include salary arrears, which we also paid. We didn't include all the parastatals that were being owed, including Oboneano Polytechnic and then the medical personnel. So those we have taken care of. And today, I can tell you the state is running very, very well. Don't bother yourself about where I'm going to find the money, because that's my own area.
So you talked about pension arrears. Part of the talking point the opposition said is they said you lied that you cleared the pension arrears. And they said you also repeated that lie by 2023 that you've not cleared any pension arrears. They said they employed some people into the state service before you came in, that you rooted most of them out, you pulled them out, and you said no, that these employments were not done properly. I mean, what do you have to say about all of these things?
Well, I have responded to them, but if you need me to respond, I will respond again. First of all, pension arrears, some of them we're talking of numbers of 45 to 56 months. People were not paid. So we sat down with the pensioners and we said, okay, you are being owed this much. We need to take them out. So the leadership of pensioners sat down with us for a very long period of time, and we agreed. And by Easter last year, we paid a total of about 10 billion to pensioners to clear all the arrears. So it was like you are going to pay in full and final settlement. Somebody's been owing you for 56 months. No chance that you may get it. But I said, I didn't need it. I need this money in your hands. So if you were here, or if you watched, you found that the pensioners organized a Thanksgiving service. A lot of them were very happy. But you know, the opposition, for now, is idle. And a lot of them are used, they don't have work. Okay, most of them. Those ones that are busy, moved on. There's something we call feeding bottle mentality. So that's what politics was about before my time in Abia. So when I came, and I said, that feeding bottle has to be taken away. So, and what does it mean? You receive federal allocation and you share it. Oh, Rufai, 1 million. El Kanemi, 20 million. Stakeholder, 15 million. By the time you finish sharing, there's no money to work. And I said, no, people should go and find work. And that is the anger of the so-called opposition. But I have news for them. It will never reverse. Abia people are happy. Abia people are wise. So if they blackmail, you know, I was reading something. Oh, people are saying they are coming to contest in 2027. That's fine. They're welcome. So if the blackmail is for me to reverse and then call them for negotiation or call them to be giving them money every month, it will not happen. They should find another work. So that's the essence of some of these. So pensions, taken off.
You've paid?
Now, there was an issue. The pensioners, the National Union of Pensioners in Abia State, they went and somehow agreed to be used by the opposition to come and deny the agreement they signed. And I said I will not discuss with them because it was a mark of dishonesty to sign an agreement and say you didn't sign. And then later you now said, oh, I signed under duress. But you agreed. But later, a respected man of God spoke about it in a church where distinguished Senator Chris Adigije I was hosting his 80th birthday. And I've had to bend over backwards. And I'm happy to sit down, not with them, but with their national body to discuss the, not pension this time, the gratuity. Because they said, oh, gratuity was also part of what was being owed. I said, okay, we can look at it. But originally, I wasn't going to discuss. So that's the issue about pension.
Okay, so that's why they're saying that you have not paid and all of that.
But everybody has been paid. And you know the interesting thing? By the 28th of every month, unfailingly, all pensioners get 100% of their pension.
Okay.
You made another point about people who were hired.
Yes.
Civil servants who were hired at the eve of the administration of my predecessor. Yes. Yes. I asked that they be disengaged.
Why did
for
you
good
do that?
reason.
Why?
Yeah. Now, every time you say civil service is overbloated, before my time, you placed an embargo on recruitment. You lost the election. And on the eve of your departure, you decided to hire so many people. By the time we looked at it, we found that a majority of them, I will shock you, you'll be shocked if I tell you the percentage, come from a particular local government.
Obiangwa?
That is very wrong. So, and I said, first of all, the embargo on employment has not been lifted. So the employment was irregular. It was a trap. And you can't set a trap for me, and I know that you set a trap, and I fall into it. So, and if you had not been on the payroll prior to the time we came into office, you need to leave and go and apply anytime the embargo was lifted. So that was wrong. And I'm sure if you were in my shoes, you would do the same.
But what about the people that make the argument, you know, there's unemployment in the land and all of that? And secondly, the case of the multi-purpose specialist hospital that they said, no, was abandoned. We need to stay part of their talking point. And afterwards, I want us to shift and now talk some national politics, you know. You want to respond to those arguments and say, you know,
which one is national politics?
No, we have to talk national politics. There's no how you come here. Should I start?
I don't talk politics.
You don't talk politics?
I'm not a politician.
Okay, you're not a politician, it's fine. But you know a certain individual called Abure.
Oh, yes, I know. Is it part of your national politics?
Oh, yes, national politics, National Labour Party politics.
Okay.
There's a contestation,
Okay, so
and they're mentioning your name. They said,
really?
you are the dramatis personae. If you hear the likes of
Arabam,
no, if you hear the likes of Arabami and everything, they said, no, you are the ones, you and your very good friend Peter Obi are the ones trying to take over the reins of the party. And the Abure faction said, they're not having it from you. I didn't want to have it from you. But let's talk about, the specialist hospital scenario
Okay,
first. And afterwards, the argument people make as regards, these people are poor, they finally got a job in government, and you said no. So can you tap out justice with mercy, and things like
No,
that?
that's why I said they should apply whenever the embargo is lifted. Is it not fair?
Okay.
Yeah, so if
Noted.
you were in my shoes,
Okay.
somebody sets a landmine for you, you want to go and fall into it.
Okay.
You have a huge, you are paying some 65,000 people. That's the population of civil servants in Abia. 65,000. And then somebody maybe puts a few more thousand for you. It wasn't in good faith. But it's gone. So at the appropriate time, and I'm sure that those of them who are forward-looking would have found something else to do. And of course, the interesting thing we are doing here is to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Our people are very entrepreneurial. Okay, so quite unlike some of us who want to be given money, majority of our people don't want to be given money. They want you to create the enabling environment for their businesses to thrive. And once you fix the roads, you clean the environment, you provide good schools for their children to go to, you have good hospitals they can go to, don't care about government.
Specialist hospital.
Specialist hospital. Now, the specialist hospital was not abandoned. In fact, it's actually working. What we did was to convert it to a general hospital because it's in Aba. You have the Abure State University Teaching Hospital, which in itself functions as a specialist hospital, also in Aba. So you don't need to set up another specialist hospital in Aba. So what happened before my time is that the Abure State University Teaching Hospital lost accreditation in 2021. And the reason for that was that my predecessors abandoned the university. The Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria came back in 2022 and reaffirmed the loss of accreditation. So when we came up in 2023, I gave my people 6 months to fix that teaching hospital, get the necessary personnel, and ensure that the accreditation was restored. To the glory of God, in December 2023, in fact, it was dramatic when the registrar of the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria came here. He said by the time he got to the teaching hospital, he was almost missing his way. And he thought the driver was taking him somewhere else. And so the accreditation was restored in 2023. So everything that you require in the teaching hospital is there right now. So we felt that instead of maintaining, because that hospital was Aba General Hospital that was converted to
Specialist hospital.
the specialist hospital. We thought it was not necessary. With the Abure State University Teaching Hospital, just a few poles from it. So it wasn't a good decision in our judgment. So the general hospital is working very, very well, just like the other 21 general hospitals. But a lot of them are in different states of dilapidation. So we have taken about 7 of them in the first instance, fixing them, retrofitting them. By the time we are done with that, we will take another 7, and then the final 7. Having said that, we also do have a general hospital in Amachara, Omoahia, that we actually want to function with the diagnostic center as a specialist hospital. And of course, there is one in Omonato, in Bende. What's the idea? The idea is to have specialist hospitals in every senatorial zone of the state. So you have the one in Amachara covering the central, you have the one in Bende covering the north, and of course you have the Abure State University Teaching Hospital in Aba covering the Aba senatorial zone. the Abia South senatorial zone. So that's what we have done with that. So
Okay.
it's not any abandonment of any sort.
Okay, good.
Now,
National
the other,
politics. Abure, what are you doing to that man?
okay, so I'm not doing anything to Abure. I have said it time and time. Abure worked very well with me, and as far as I'm concerned, he's still my friend. But I tell friends the truth. So it was in 2023. So he came to me to say that in the next year, a convention will be done. I said, okay, that's fine. 2024, he came and said he wanted to do the convention in Umuahia. I was happy. But later, he said, oh, that he wants to move it to Oka. I asked why. He said, oh, there are a lot of people, you know some stories. I said, okay, that's fine. Then later he came again to say it should be Newi. I asked the question. I said, who will be the delegates for this convention? Because if my understanding of how political parties are organized is correct, you organize congresses at the lowest levels and then get all the way to national convention. So you have the world congresses, you have the local government congresses, you have the state congresses, the zonal congresses, the southeast, south, and then now delegates from there will now go for national convention. He said, oh no, that they have a different way of doing it in the Labour Party. I said, okay, so I supported them. They went for the convention. And thereafter, a lot of issues started coming up. Then I now realized that INEC had removed his name as the national chairman of the party, and I called his attention to it. So he said, oh, maybe it's a mistake. I said, okay. So I made my inquiries with INEC, and they said his tenure had expired. And I called him, and I said, this is what I find from INEC, that your tenure has expired. He said, it's not true. Now he went for a meeting that he was not invited, a meeting of all the political parties. He was not allowed in. I'm sure you must have seen it in the media. I called him. I said, this is not good. What is the issue? So my inquiry said that he had an agreement with NLC and TUC. In 2022, it was a consent judgment where he said that he will organize an all-inclusive convention starting from congresses the next year being 2023. In 2023, that he also sat with them and said, we just finished a presidential election. Our presidential candidate is in court. Can we take one more year before this convention? They are all agreed. Now, this information came from INEC, not from him. So I called him again, and I said, this is what I got from INEC. He said he would give me a file. So he sent me a file. Maybe he didn't think I would read the file. I read. So I read everything in the file. And I called him. I said, Mr. Abure, the file you gave me agrees with what INEC said. So, in that case, this convention you did in Newi that I was not comfortable with has not been recognized by INEC. Did INEC come? He said they did come. I said, then you can't have a convention. So let's do it right so that our party doesn't get deregistered. This is the party that brought me to power. So, and I said, you know what? As we speak, and even as we speak now, I don't have a candidate for national chairman. If I'm asked to produce a national chairman, I'll still produce you. You've done one term. Why don't you, let's do it well. Present yourself again, if you want to. But I have a problem. If I've spoken to 10 people in this party, 9 people don't want you, that means there's something wrong. Why do you want to lead people who don't want you to lead them? You know what? If you want to be the BOT chairman, I can speak to the leaders of the party. I'm not the only leader. P2B is there, the vice presidential, that is there. I can speak to them so that we can give you the POT chairman of the party. He said, okay, he will meet with his National Working Committee. That was the last meeting we had, and that was 2024. The next thing, they went to court, and, you know, the rest is now history. Now, Supreme Court has delivered judgment de-recognizing him. And it will be interesting for you to read the Supreme Court judgment, and I'll send it to you. At least, even if you don't have time to read the 48-page document, read from page 46 to the last. You see that Supreme Court said that both the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal were wrong to recognize him as the chairman of the party, and reversed that judgment and said that the appeal stands. Now, who was the appellant? Senator Esther Nenadi Osman and Senator Darlington Wukoja, the chairman and secretary of the caretaker committee. So that's where we are. So I don't have any problem with Abure. Supreme Court has said, you are no longer chairman. And the man is saying he is still the chairman.
But
something must be wrong.
So, but this conundrum, a lot of people have said, can lead to the destruction of your party. Some people argue that your party is gone. With all of this, are you planning on decamping at some point? Because as Delta just left, other governors are leaving. Governor Fubara, suspended Governor Fubara, went to have a meeting with President Tinubu. And it looks like your party is on shaky ground. And like, Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, former governor of Delta, did say today, said they want to be close to the center. Your state is one leg in the center. You know, the speaker, the deputy speaker of the House of Reps happens to be from your state. So that's a great privilege. And he too has been saying that we are going to, consolidate on the state and push you out. So is it not just time for you to align with the APC, or are you going to do it anytime soon?
Okay, so I take your advice.
So you are decamping.
So
we can say it's exclusive that Governor Otti is making the moves to the APC.
Governor Otti is not decamping. And
why?
My party is not on shaky ground.
Why?
Well, I've told you this.
The arguments some other politicians make is
they
say lone man. You want to be close to the center.
Don't worry. I'm being close to the center. I'm even closer to the center than some of them.
But you're not in APC. You can't be as closer than Delta.
Everybody must not be in APC. This is democracy. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu held on to his AD, AC, ACN before becoming APC. If he was, he wouldn't be president today. Sometimes you have to also stand for something.
Will you ever leave Labour?
I am not God.
So you might leave.
I cannot say if there's no Labour tomorrow. So you have already predicted for the
So
party.
you might leave. That's what I say. You say you're not God.
Elsewhere
Because some people swore that they were never going to leave APGA, but they left APGA.
Who did?
I mean, people move around political parties a lot.
Of course.
So are you going to say you are never going to leave Labour?
I was in PDP.
Okay.
And then from PDP, I went to APGA.
So you've been moving around a lot.
I went to APC. I went in APC.
So you've moved around a lot.
So
that means you might just
not the issue.
You might just continue in that line.
That is not the issue.
You might go back home.
That is not the issue. The issue is that the party that brought me to power is Labour. Okay? And today we have fought and retrieved the Labour. So, and I said I will send you the Supreme Court judgment. So when you finish reading it, you will know that Abure is just masturbating.
Really?
Yes, he's not. He's out. There is. So you can declare yourself. You can declare yourself the president of Nigeria today. You can.
That means.
Does that mean Rufai is now the president?
No, but that means his masturbations are of epic proportion because his masturbations are causing gyrations in the Labour Party as we speak.
Okay, you need to mind your language now.
No, it's because everybody looks at it that all is not well,
you see
and they are also governors. They are also pointing at opposition, dismembering political parties, like it's happening with the APC, with the PDP now, and they're also looking like as the Labour Party. So that's why you can call it masturbations, but these gyrations are getting into the fabric of the foundation of the party, and a lot of people are arguing that Would there even be Labour Party in 2027?
Okay, so they are not God. You are just what you are, just your human intelligence and analysis.
Just like I'm not God to know if you are still going to leave Labour Party at some point.
Exactly, and I'm not God to also say that I will remain in Labour Party or leave Labour Party.
Okay.
But as we speak, the objective conditions today do not make it for me to leave Labour Party. There is tomorrow anything can change, and I've told you.
Okay.
And I'm very pragmatic, and I look at things, and of course, if I'm going to take any decision, that decision is going to be taken in full consultation with Abia people. Those are the people who are...
Oh, that's the word you politicians say. You always say you do it for the people.
No.
It's your decision.
I told you I wasn't a politician. Maybe you are the one that are politician now. We are not politicking. No, we must, because the truth about it is that it's Abia people through God that brought me here. So there's nobody is more important than Abia people and God. So and wherever God wants me to be, but it must be a right move. So it will not be by blackmail. It will not be because other people are. So you see people are jumping into the lagoon, you jump. Or you see people trying to face the trailer, you face the trailer. No, you must take your decisions based on objective conditions. And it's not, I'm not going to. So all the people that you mentioned, is okay. I'm sure there are clear arguments that they have. And I always find it difficult to discuss people because when you are not in their condition, you are not in their situation. So there are things they may know that you do not know. But as we speak today, we have retrieved the Labour Party. The National Caretaker Committee is in charge now, and they will organize congresses, ward, local government, like I told you, all the way to national convention, so that we get leadership.
When are those congresses going to happen?
Before the end of the year. They already have a timetable.
Okay. I'd like to ask you this. Has President Tinubu done well economically?
Okay, so this is one question I may not be able to answer. Why?
Why?
Because I have access to him. So I can always discuss with him. So it would be unfair for me to come in front of the cameras and be assessing him. And today is just 23 months into the administration. It's still early days.
Did you call President Tinubu and told him it was unfair when he declared a state of emergency in Rivers?
No, I don't. You are also going to an area that I said I will not discuss. And that area is, I wouldn't discuss.
But it's not fair.
I wouldn't discuss.
Okay.
Listen so that you hear me. I wouldn't discuss people. I wouldn't discuss other states. I wouldn't discuss the federal government.
But when you look at it, a lot of the PDP governors filed a case against the state of emergency, which was to defend integrity. Because you see, you say you wouldn't discuss people, but let me put it in a principal context for you. As you are seated here with the gyrations from the opposition you are facing, if somebody says the solution is declaring a state of emergency in your state, cause 1 or 2 skirmishes, and suspend you, you will say that's an aberration, isn't it? So what happens in Rivers? So what happened in Rivers?
It's possible because it has happened somewhere else.
So what happened in Rivers is an aberration, right?
It can happen.
No, what happened in Rivers is an aberration?
Let me tell you one thing. I was watching the Speaker of the House of Representatives in the U.S. when he was talking about Trump. I don't know if you saw that video. Yeah. And I looked at it. I said, okay, so this is a Republican that was on the same ballot with Trump. So, and he's saying it's an aberration, what Trump signed. He said we can, natural gas, we can't even export. Wait. So aberrations do happen. What is important is how you respond to it. And your response to it, I have my private opinion, which I have shared.
What's your opinion about it?
No, it's private to me. I will share it with you. But it will be impolitic for me In fact, I mean, completely mess up the situation if I make some comments that I shouldn't make. So I can go to the president to say, this is my opinion about this.
No, but
I don't need to come to you and say this is my opinion.
With due respect, Governor, I was talking to Governor Dowd a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him this question, and I said, do you condemn the state of emergency in Rivers? I know his answer, but I'm asking you now, do you condemn the state of emergency in Rivers? He told me, I condemn it, and that's why we're going to court. So I'm asking you.
So he has gone to court. The matter is now sub judice.
So I'm asking.
So why are you asking me?
No, I'm asking you. No. You were not joined in the case, so
yes,
this is a
but
different
I'm in
one.
Nigeria.
No, this is a different one.
So the matter is in court.
So
it will be decided by the court.
So I'm asking you, do you condemn the state of emergency that happened in Rivers?
Did you read anything from me condemning it?
No, I'm asking you.
No, I have not.
So you don't want to share public opinion about it?
But as a body, we as Governors Forum are looking at it.
What do you mean we? I'm asking you for your own personal opinion.
My own opinion,
Governor Otti.
my own opinion is my opinion. You cannot force it out of me.
Okay, I concede. But generally speaking, at a democracy like this, people look and say, state of emergencies. Is it a good one?
You are still going back to the same
No, I'm asking you. Is it a good one, yes or no?
Privately speaking,
yes.
I've made my opinion, I've put my opinion together, and my colleagues know my position. I have not seen the president. When I see the president, I will also share. I see the president from time to time, and I share my opinion.
So you will just you give us a global response, and you will share your private opinion with the president.
My private opinion is what is most important.
Do you also share that private opinion when you see an uptick in inflation despite, I was just at the IMF spring meetings and the numbers were not good. An uptick in inflation despite rebasing.
Despite what?
The fact that we rebased the inflation calculation parameters.
Yes.
And there's an uptick again, 24%. The numbers are gloomy. They're saying over a couple of years, inflation might go up 37%. And you guys sit in the economic meeting with the president. Do you ever get to tell him and say, Mr. President, we're sinking, we're going under?
Did you start sinking today? It did start sinking today.
So,
you have been sinking.
So is it not worth telling him?
In denial.
So is it not worth telling him?
No. I mean, when we go for meetings.
Oh, living in denial. So you support the subsidy removal, right?
Of course.
You support the flotation of the naira.
Subsidy removal was long overdue. And what was happening? What was happening is that big men like you and I, we are the ones.
Your Excellency, I'm not a big man.
You're a big man. You live in VI. For you to live in VI, you're a big man.
So,
in fact, I'm even afraid of you. When I heard that you live in VI, in Lagos, I used to stay in Lekki.
I
couldn't afford VI.
At least you own I don't own a home in VI.
Well, we have to find out whether you own. Even being a tenant, to have mind to be a tenant in VI, that means that you are not a big man.
I'm a tenant, Your Excellency.
No, but the point is this.
Yes.
There are a lot of things that we should have done. My interventions in this day.
I read your
written extensively about this subsidy. So it was a scam. We just needed to do something.
Also floating the naira?
Sorry?
Also floating the naira too?
Floating the naira, I had also written about it. But you see, I think what happened was that the two things happened about the same time.
Which was not a good one.
But then, over time, I believe that this economy, if we keep at it, the economy would rebound. Oh, now, are you surprised that inflation at 24%? What's the interest rate?
Well, it's super high. Going up to 30% for some businesses.
It goes with interest rate. So if it will keep chasing you, no matter how much you rebase. So that's what it is.
But the hardship on people, the fact that their naira is not worth anything
very
again,
unfortunate.
and you feel that in your state. Do you tell that to the president sometimes?
It's very unfortunate.
But see,
some of the sacrifices must be made. If you don't make them today, you will make them tomorrow. Or the economy will go up in flames.
But Mr. Governor, saying it's very unfortunate does not put food on the table of a hungry person. And people will die of hunger, and people are dying.
And saying it is fortunate will also not put food on the table. So you need to do something about it. We're just talking. We need to do something about it.
So what are you doing about it?
One of the things that we are doing is to ensure that we create an environment where productivity will happen. Part of the problem with the exchange rate is because we are not producing much. It's because we are not exporting anything other than oil. It's because we are importing everything from the profane to the profound. We import toothpicks. We import bottled water. Should we be doing that? So that puts a lot of pressure on the foreign exchange market. And until we reverse that, until we produce, do you know how much we spend importing food? Palm oil that Malaysians took from here in Umuahia. We are now buying from them. So these are things that need to be done.
So what are you doing as regards agriculture? If they took the palm oil out from Umuahia, and you are saying Malaysians are bringing it, but I thought you would have jumpstart the palm oil, palm kernel revolution
we
again.
are doing
So
that.
how many tonnage are you producing now
It's still
under your
early
government?
days.
Early days?
It's still early days.
But people are hungry.
Oh yeah, you have to. We are. I say so. If you are asking how many tonnage, it's early days because we just came.
Okay.
In Okwa, we have a multinational company that is partnering with us to remove the old trees and replant them. In rubber, in cocoa, we are in rice. In fact, today we are producing rice in Owerenta. So, but it's still early days. So it's not time to blow the trumpet because we still need quite a lot of time.
Governor Otti, make me understand this. Your IGR in a month is, and your federal allocation in a month is how much?
Small.
Small amount. But you're doing so many things. You want to build an airport counterpart funding, you're producing this, you're producing that, you're clearing the debt. I mean, how are you doing it? You said it's a trade secret earlier on, but I mean, people would like to know this trade secret. Maybe other governors can, can use it. I mean, because...
No, okay, so the first thing is prudence.
Okay.
Prudence. Okay, so one of the easiest things for me to do would have been to start building a new government house. It's not like it's very comfortable. But I know that if I use the money to put into dealing with maybe the road in Umuahia, I will empower a whole lot of people who ordinarily didn't have access. So you have prudence, then you have economies of scale. What is most important? You need to sit down. As a student of economics, I have my priorities listed. So, and I know that if the man in Ariara market cannot get to the market, he cannot add to my GDP. So, he cannot add to my internally generated revenue. I know that if the woman in Bende cannot access her farm, then she's not going to be useful, not to her family or to the government. I know that if I am sick and I cannot get attention from the primary health care center, then I will be useless to the economy. And that's why when we came, we looked at the 948 primary health care centers in Abia. We went around. All of them were in a mess. And we said, okay, we'll put some 8-9 billion in the budget for renovating 200 primary health care centers in 100 days. That is happening now. By next month, it will be 100 days, and 200 primary health centers will be delivered. We will take another 200 after this one, until we get the 948. We looked at the schools. We found that a lot of our children no longer want to go to school. You see them early in the morning hawking banana and granite, kara and all that. So I was embarrassed because I grew up here. And my parents were not rich, but I went to school. And I knew that if these children would not go to school, then they wouldn't have the opportunity that I had. And I said, okay. I wasn't even too sure what the problem was, whether it was the school fees or they just didn't want to, they wanted to make money. So, and I set up a task force. I said, first of all, I said, let's know how much do we make from school fees. Go back to 2023. Go back to 2022. The numbers were almost the same. And it was nothing. I said, if I take away the school fees, would it be an incentive for these children to go back to school? I'm not sure. I said, okay, I'll take away the school fees, but I'll set up a task force to force those.
So Abia has some free education now?
Of course. I said, I will force those that don't want to go to go to school. Do you know what happened? I set up the task force. And I made an announcement. I said, anybody that will see of school age that was not in school, we are going to arrest him. Not because we wanted to keep him. We want the parents to come so that we can exchange them with their parents. We've not got one person. In fact, the task force that we set up is now going around to ensure compliance, that there is no school where school fees are charged and that teachers are teaching. So I looked at the explosion when the announcement was made in terms of enrollment was so much. And we found that we didn't have teachers. And what did we do? We now said, okay, you know what? There are a lot of people. We are talking of civil servants and other. I said, a lot of people don't have jobs. If you are qualified, we opened up a portal. Please apply. We went to hire 5,000 teachers. And in 1 week, we got 17,000 applications. The second week, it climbed to 30-something thousand. And we shut the portal. We now tested them, and today, 4,600 have been hired. We want to take another 4,000 so that we can fit them into those schools. We are renovating all the schools. Okay? So that's what it is. It's not rocket science. So it's just about being prudent, being deliberate, having a plan.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? And keep it to it. Of course, there's another part of it that's very, very important. The people that you are working with. I don't care where you come from. I'm sure you may have heard that my head of service is from Edo State. I sit down and interview them. And when I interviewed them, and I found he was number one. I go to the head of service.
Okay, so what's the primary school enrollment rate now, uptake, since this new scheme started in Abia?
I don't even, it's been crazy. I don't even, I've lost count of the numbers. People are just streaming. Again, what I also found is that a lot of people are leaving the private schools to come to public schools. Because, of course, you have the good quality, you have good teachers, we are renovating the place. And I called the commissioner for education, and I said, we need to now think of what to do to the very serious private school operators. Because we also don't want them to be, it also contribute to the economy. How are we going to maybe support the students? So these are some of the things. And then in terms of healthcare, I mean, that's before the end of the month of May, we believe that the president will come to commission that Port Harcourt road that we will soon see. But there's something else we are doing with healthcare. As soon as we came in, as part of our manifesto, we had promised that we would reverse medical tourism from India. You know the number. Over $2 billion every year.
Yeah.
So we said we'd set up a medical village. And we've been working on it for almost 2 years now. And to the glory of God, by about the 23rd of May, we are going to...
How much did that cost you?
Okay, so it's not going to cost me any money. It's going to cost $1.3 billion. The money is coming from elsewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, and our partners are bringing the money. They will build, they will manage, they will operate.
And transfer. Who are your partners?
MKP Global.
Okay.
And they've done something like that in Singapore.
Okay. So where's it going to be located?
Sorry?
Where's it going to be located?
It's going to be located in Abia.
Abia.
You passed the site as you were coming from the airport.
So 23rd of May is going to be the groundbreaking of it.
Will you come?
Okay, I mean, I'll take the chance if I'm around. I mean, as we wrap up, let's talk about the legacy of Dr. Pascal Dozier. Because I know
The legacy of...
Dr. Pascal Dozier.
Oh, okay.
Because this was somebody dear to you, and he's going to start his journey home very soon, and he passed at the ripe age of 85.
Yes, well, I'd done my condolence, and I'd also spoken to the first son who succeeded me in that. was a good man. He actually did his best. Unfortunately, which I think is the reason why he departed this quickly. His major strength was Auntie Chi, the wife, who is also sick. In fact, the last time I saw him, he was lamenting how Auntie does not even recognize anybody who cannot offer help. So I believe that that was part of why he left. But he did his best. He was part of the people that set up MTN. He was the pioneer chairman of MTN. And of course, Diamond Bank and a whole lot of other businesses that he set up. We thank God for his life. At 85, we would have loved that he would stay longer, but he tried. Just like the Pope, also that was that 88, another good man. And unfortunately, another very good man that passed on last night that has not been announced. But that one was hit me personally because supporting Anaba brought up the of us. He was also very close to Pascal. So the burial arrangements are already being put together, and we'll be here to ensure that we give him a befitting burial in the evening. I believe that should be in a few days from now.
If there's one word in your mind for the people of your state and you can speak to them now, what would that be?
Well, when we came, we knew our people were struggling. They were weeping. And our mantra was, weep no more, help is on the way. Exactly 23 months after, because today is the 29th of April, 2025, I think help has come. And I believe that they should keep up with the positive disposition. The 23 months out of 48 is less than 50%. So there's still a whole lot that we have in stock to do. And by the grace of God, we are going to deliver on every promise we made them. Like you said, the opposition keeps making noise, but that is what they should do. Sometimes we also read and hear what they say. Anyone that makes sense, we put it on board. Nobody has a monopoly of knowledge. But of course, if it is based on criticism for criticism's sake, if it is based on promoting alternative agenda, if it is based on fiction, not facts, we don't pay attention. So the state is in the right hands. The state is moving in the right direction. We also appreciate that they are very happy with where we are now. So they should remain focused. No one should listen to stories because you can feel it yourself. So, and I also like to thank you for finding time to be with us in Abure here. And we hope you come again and again and again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's about all we can take with the governor of Abia State, Governor Alex Otti. It's been a very interesting conversation. He's touched on many areas, responses to words said about him and criticisms about him. Also, we talked some national politics, Labour Party politics, and ended with giving a befitting tribute to Dr. Pascal. That's about all we can take today. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Thank you.